Brought to you by Hulu. Time to have great original shows and movies. Time to have Hulu. Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to a special pre-taped non-holiday edition of SJU. Yes, unfortunately, we do give some people behind the camera time off, and that's what happened this week. So if anything crazy has occurred this Monday, sorry, we'll get to it. But from the past, we have some things that we're going to talk about regarding the future, namely TV shows that are based on movies. What are movies good for? Making television about them. Yes, that's all that matters about movies anymore. We got a fun Love, Simon thing coming up. That's going to be a good adaptation. We've got, is there a Highlander thing yet? When's Highlander? When do I get my Highlander show?
Well, the 90s gave you a Highlander show.
Oh, it did? Wow. Yeah. I got to go back. Yeah. We have to go back.
And sir, if you learned anything, there can be only
but
one.
But isn't Henry Cavill doing Highlander? Anyways, I'm still introing. Hi, Bailey. Hi, Danielle. Hey, everybody. We're going to talk about that. There's also a few bits of news here, some Venom pushback, Thor: The Dark World. There is a release the Taylor cut. Oh, God, not again. And then we will get to some fan questions that I ignored last week. Sounds like fun? Great. Let's do it. We will start with the following. We all picked some of our favorite TV shows that were based on films. Let's just go around in a circle, all hold hands off camera, and say what our favorite series is based on a film. Danielle, you can go first.
Do I do more than one or just start with one?
Just do one. We'll go loop to loop. Yeah.
This is not going to be a surprise to anyone, but my favorite TV show based on a series is Buffy. That's just easy. I actually liked the movie. I know that it underperformed and people didn't really get it, and a lot of it was like super campy, but I liked it, and I liked that they did take a darker turn with the series, but it kept a lot of, it's just it's very that guy. Like, it's very much Buffy has directly impacted so much of the work and stuff that I do, and I'm such a huge fan. And I just think that it's a way to take what was not a super high performing movie, and in fact, a movie that is known as being like a huge bomb and people make fun of it all the time, and it turned it into almost like pre-prestige television, like this really kind of prestige-y thing, especially for something that was genre back in the day. So that's why that's one of my favorites. I just think that it was really a good case of taking some lemons and making some seriously good lemonade out of it. They got like 7-8 seasons. That's a lot for a movie that was a bomb and that everyone makes fun of. So
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah,
doing good.
I mean, we Denise meant a lot more back then. It hadn't been diluted yet by that just being the kind of de facto dialogue style of every nerd thing on film and TV. Like, it was revolutionary for its time. And yeah, it was like must-see TV. And man, they had those were long seasons too. They had to crank out a lot of Buffy back in the day. This wasn't some 6-episode limited run on a streamer. This was like weekly appointment viewing.
It's like 22, 24 episodes. That's a lot of episodes of hour-long TV.
Yeah. So to maintain that kind of quality and to like launch so many people from that show, including the superior spin-off Angel, is saying so. Anyone have any Buffy thoughts to add to that? Should we move on?
Yeah, I didn't want to. Danielle beat me to claiming it as one of the ones, but it's so good. It's like the show I was most obsessed with in my life. Like, it was so, and yeah, going in, I was like cynical, like, what? They're making a show off of that movie, and I liked the movie fine, but it still didn't seem like this can sustain. And then it was so involving, and the fact that it actually took legitimate risks and swerves that people didn't see coming, and it was super influential as far as like pulling, even the opening scene of Buffy, which was like the blonde girl being led into the school, she's actually the vampire, was at the time revolutionary. Like, at the time, like that little turn on the all the cliches. So yeah, I very much like Buffy is sort of like very impactful in my life as well. And me sitting here right now.
Well, speaking of vampires, Bailey, why don't you give your first pick?
Sure. Although I will say very briefly on Buffy, my youngest sister is named after Faith from Buffy.
Wow.
So
From Buffy. Wow.
if anyone has a very tangible Buffy impact on their life, I'm gonna claim it. Like, that one.
Yeah,
that one's mine.
that's a big
I got
one.
that. Yeah.
You got that.
But yeah, speaking of movie turned TV vampires, I would say my favorite is absolutely What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows is one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen it dozens of times. I love that movie. And then when I heard that they were doing a TV show, I honestly had just unmitigated glee about it. I had full faith in the team, and I think it took a couple episodes to really find its footing, but there was just so much promise in those first couple episodes that I stuck with it. And then when it really hit its stride, it took off. It's so funny. It's got such a clear tone that's true to the movie and within the movie's universe without attempting to copy what the movie was doing. And from there, it's also spun off like Wellington Paranormal, which is amazing. And I love that one as well. Like it's worked to build out this whole universe of just Taika Waititi's vision / Jermaine Clement's vision of what a silly vampire show should look like. And I love it.
Yeah, cheers to that. And also it's been, I think, America's first like real exposure to Matt Berry, who I think is such a treasure. If you haven't seen
on that show,
Toast of London, Snuffbox, what else?
Darth Marini's Dark Place.
How could I forget Darth?
Just watched on Prime, and it was an amazing afternoon watching that. Yeah.
the best. So yeah, if that's like, if anything, a gateway into the rest of his work, I'm all for it. Yeah, that show's so good. All right, well, sweet. Eric, you go now.
I'll pick from the first one, Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is one that talk about cynicism. It's like just they're making a show based on Terminator, which has already had bad sequels after T2, and the fact that all anyone can imagine is like every week a Terminator will come back, and what the hell would this show even be? And then it turned out to be a really cool, involving show. And Lena Headey taking over as Sarah Connor and kind of making it her own because she's not copying what Linda Hamilton did. But she's got obviously a cool Lena Headey presence, and Summer Glau has the Terminator in it. It was a really cool show. It even got over my cynicism about Brian Austin Green being a tough guy, and playing Kyle Reese's brother, and he was great in it. So yeah, just a show that really surprised me because I went in so like, come on, this is just going to be crap, and then thought, no, this is actually cool and pretty dark and deep. And it's funny to see the creator Josh Friedman, who's like a really talented guy, talk about how when he made the show versus now, like at the time Fox did want a lot of like not Terminator of the Week, but at least Case of the Week type things that now they wouldn't even have to do because now it's all about like serialization. But no, I think they did a really good job of kind of weaving both of that together. So yeah, I've actually been slowly rewatching that show with a friend of mine who's never seen it, and it still holds up. And I'm sad it only got the 2 seasons, but yeah, Sarah Connor Chronicles for me.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I know a million people have told me to. It's like enough. I get it. I'm going to. I guess if I didn't do it during quarantine, when will I?
Only 2 seasons.
2 seasons? Okay.
Not a huge commitment. It does end on a finale that will make you wish there was more.
But well, now I don't want to watch it, even less.
Here's what I say to people. Don't consider it a cliffhanger as much as a window into what could have been. There's still some closure. It's just also some crazy stuff happening that we'll never get to see. But it's worth it. Watch those 2 seasons.
Fair enough. All right, my turn. I'll go for something that I wouldn't think I'd have any interest in. I don't like football. I didn't like high school, but I love Friday Night Lights, man. Texas forever. High school football rules. I just loved spending time with these characters and in this place. And my God, what a cast! What a white hot star furnace of celebrity power. You've got Taylor Kitsch.
Couldn't even finish it. Couldn't even get through it.
John Carter.
They tried. They gave him two like $200 million.
Oh, they tried to make Taylor Kitsch happen so bad. I still think it can happen, but man, True Detective season 2 was the last nail in the coffin. I'm afraid. Kyle Chandler, come on, you all love him. Connie Britton, Minka Kelly, personal favorite of mine. Jesse Plemons, his like. Who saw that coming? Jesse Plemons being like our generation's best character actor.
Yeah, the fact that he's the high school student on that show, I love it. I think he's great, but that is not something anyone saw coming.
Yeah,
they saw Kitsch, not Plemons.
Immediately post-Wire, Michael B. Jordan kind of takes over the series in season 3, and it's just so good and so sweet and so like this is like I'm gonna say it's the good version of Ted Lasso. It's like It's like Ted Lasso.
Oh.
Yeah. I put it out
Shots
there.
fired.
Yeah. It's not the
God.
twee, every line could be knitted on a pillow. Like there's some real shit that happens and they overcome it together and without like just a bunch of little folksy bromides. Except for season 2 where MTV was like, one of the kids has to kill somebody. And it just kind of like some
happened
real
in Ted Lasso season 2.
What's that? Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't watched it yet. I just think that this is a real good, meaty show to get your hooks into. It's got a great ending, so you can stick it through all the way to the end. Really, you just have to skip. So I'm getting a not important phone call. You just have to skip section 1 of season 2 because they're getting a lot of MTV notes because the show never really found its audience, I think, until
NBC notes.
NBC notes. Oh, yes. Really? I thought it was on MTV. I guess I always watched it after
NBC was where it originally aired. Yeah.
Wow. Well, there you go. So hold on, steer into the skid during season 2, and you'll be rewarded with one of my favorite shows of all time.
Even though you are an awful person for your Ted Lasso
slander.
But I will say, like, to me, Ted Lasso's the half-hour comedy version of Friday Night Lights. Because, yeah, I completely agree with you on Friday Night Lights. And I still couldn't tell you how football was played. And I didn't care. Damn it, did I want the Panthers to win? So the characters are so great. And that show made me cry, like, over and over again. That episode called The Sun. Come on. This is a wonderful, heartwarming show.
Yeah, like even when you feel like you're going to cry over it, you still like wind up walking away with some little bit of tiny bit of hope. And yeah, I also I do not care about football. Texas is a fine state and you're all fine people. But I am not from there. So I do not care about Texas football, even a little bit, especially high school football. And yeah, you walk away just feeling kind of like it's really heartwarming and you walk away feeling hopeful. And, Coach Taylor is just so good at making you want to go out there and be your best.
Yep. I'm sorry. We let down Coach Taylor. Every day we stray further from Coach Taylor's light. I think it's your turn, Danielle. What's your second show?
So my second show is something that another show that I really love. I really love Fargo. I love the way that they approached it. I think an anthology series, first of all, I love an anthology series, just full stop. I think it's great. I think it's a great way for a show not to burn out. And this is one where it doesn't have 22 episodes. And so there doesn't feel like and every season is different. I like that it wasn't just because it would have been very easy to just take those characters and again, have it be kind of a thing of the week or serialized. And the first season is a little closer to that, but the way that they are able to continue to make this premise very fresh and to keep bringing in these amazing casts of really good actors. The writing is obviously incredibly good. And it's very worth your time. If you want to see some of the best actors doing some of the best acting on TV, Fargo is definitely where you want to go. And it goes places where you think you know where it's going to go and it winds up twisting and turning and surprising you every time. And it's really hard for TV to do that for a lot of us who watch a lot of TV because we're so used to the way that tropes work. And it winds up surprising me more often than not.
Yeah, I mean the aforementioned Jesse Plemons is great.
Jesse Plemons,
and then, Billy Bob Thornton playing one of the most terrifying villains on the big screen or small in season 1. It's so good. I was a little
Ewan McGregor is great.
This last season, I don't know. Not. It's still better than most things on television, but I don't think the Chris Rock season was up to the standard of the ones that came before it. What was your take on that one, Danielle?
I liked it. I thought that it was still very good, but I do kind of see, I see a little bit where you're going, but I don't know. I still really enjoyed it. I think that I like when people kind of go outside there. And I felt like Chris Rock was kind of going outside of what we normally think of him. And I like when people take risks. And I felt like it was maybe a slightly riskier season. I don't know. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And I guess, just credit to Noah Hawley, because again, this was another show that was so easy to be like, you're going to try to do a Coen Brothers type thing without the Coen Brothers. Good luck. But he evokes the feel of Fargo and does a really good job with it.
Yeah. Discount Cobros. I'll take it. I'll take it any night of the week. Who's next? Is it Bailey?
Yeah.
Well, my second choice is very serious adult television, prestige drama, Hercules the Animated Series. There was an era of Disney, and that's still somewhat ongoing with the Tangled animated series, but where every almost every animated movie had like a television spin-off on Toon Disney. And like there was Aladdin, and we had like an Emperor's New School. And I feel like the creme de la creme of all of them was Hercules, the animated series. It was shoddily animated. It was 2 seasons, or maybe 1 season, but somehow 1,000 episodes. And it was just like a who's who of all the best voice talent available. You had like Bobcat Goldthwait was in it, and Sandra Bernhard, and they got like Eric Idle was Mr. Parentheses. Like it was so stacked of a cast, and it was funny and smart, and it was true to the characters, and it was like a prequel, so it didn't undo any of the growth that was experienced in the movie version of Hercules. And it was just a delightful, child-friendly introduction to a lot of the Grecian myths. I think at one point they had Idina Menzel come in as Circe. She sang a song. It was amazing. I love that show. It's on Disney Plus. Watch it.
Wow. Gotta go back and check that out, because I feel like Disney TV animated fare is like not good.
It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
There's a lot of it that's not good, but I also know people really like the Tangle show too. So
the Tangled show is good. Yes, the Tangled shows. I've seen that. That's actually excellent.
Yeah.
But like the straight to those like big clamshell VHS tapes era, like Aladdin 2 is clearly just 3 episodes of the cartoon just smushed together. Like they didn't even bother cutting out the parts where they fade to black at the end of the episode. But good rec. I will have to check that out. That's
I sincerely recommend it. It is much funnier than you expect it to be.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Eric. What else you got?
My second choice is Nikita, which the 2010 Nikita, not the earlier La Femme Nikita show. They're both based on the movie La Femme Nikita. But this was the CW one that I think really struggled by being on the CW, not fitting at all on the network it was airing on, because this aired during like Gossip Girl era CW. They were just starting to put their feet into superhero stuff. But what was this show that was like adults in an action series on the CW? But it's a really cool show. It kind of positions itself as a sequel to anything that came before, only in that, because this was the 4th version of Nikita, including the American remake of the movie. But that it's like she's already quit the agency and is on the run. You don't need to have seen any of the previous versions, but it works as this cool sort of thing with right from the beginning in the pilot. I won't even say, but there's a cool twist right in the pilot about what's really happening, what you think the show is about. Just as it went on, Xander Berkeley, so great, has Hollywood douchebag in a million movies, plays the villain here, and he's really fun. And it just twists and turns, really good action, especially like network TV, which is known for having great action a lot of the time. Maggie Q, very sort of, credible and formidable as the lead. I just really like this show, and I was very impressed by it. It was so under the radar because, again, completely the wrong network. Like if this show was airing on even like USA at the time, I think it would have gotten a lot more attention alongside Burn Notice than it did alongside like the 90210 remake. Nikita, 4 seasons, really cool. And I was really happy because they got to do a 4th season. It was only 6 episodes, but it was one of those cases of you will get closure because they got those 6 episodes to wrap up the story.
I always get confused which Nikita to watch because I know there's been multiple Nikitas.
Yes, there's 4 different.
What do I do with all these Nikitas?
But the Maggie Q version is my favorite. Nothing against the other versions, but
I'll check that out. Has anybody else seen that, or is Eric on Nikita Island?
I have not, but I'm putting it on my list.
It's on Hulu, guys. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I watched a few episodes because I would watch Gossip Girl and then I would watch Nikita. I thought Maggie Q's so great in this, and I don't remember why I stopped watching. I need to revisit it. It sounds amazing.
Awesome. So getting a lot to throw on your watch later list here, and I'll give you one more. I think I've talked about this show before, but Clerks the Animated Series is a titanically underrated cartoon. You don't have to be a big Kevin Smith fan. You don't even have to be a big Clerks fan. It's very different in tone and pace and joke style. It's really like I could have sworn Lord and Miller did it, but then I was like, wait, that's Clone High, my other favorite show. So this is it. Just everything you need to know is the first episode. Maybe it's the second episode.
The second
episode is a clip show of the first episode. They really do not give a single shit about about the rules, man. But it's got Alec Baldwin in the voice cast, like a lot. Charles Barkley in a lot of it, and all the cast of Clerks that you know and love, of course. But it's just so funny, and they really pushed what you could do not with animation like technically, but what you could do with animation plot wise, like, oh, now the end of this episode is going to be an anime courtroom drama. Like they'll just pivot completely on a dime as they feel. And it's like, Kevin Smith made it with a guy named David Mandel, who went on to co-run the show Veep. So the joke writing is going to be sharp. And it has very little to do with Clerks, except for the fact that the characters are the same. And there's, you get your Silent Bob and Jay stuff, but you get so much more. Danielle, you're nodding. You've seen this show.
I love this show so much. I bought it on DVD, and I will say, if you are able to somehow find it with a commentary track, Kevin Smith just kills it at commentary tracks. It's just just get him talking about things, and he's like, that's why his tours have always done so good, and he's got some specials that are really great. But the commentary track on this is as funny as the show is. To me, it's at least as entertaining as the show is. So if you're able to find it with the commentary track, I highly recommend doing so if you can. It is definitely worth it. I miss commentary tracks, y'all.
Yeah, that's too bad. We've kind of lost that in the streaming wars. Eric, you've seen the show too?
Oh yeah, I love it, and I will say Kevin Smith obviously can be very polarizing, but this does not, like you said, Spencer, it's this does not feel like a Kevin Smith movie. This is really it takes the fact that it's animation and goes in a completely different direction with just the basic idea that they are clerks. But then especially, the first episode's funny, but that second episode, what they did with the whole joke of a clip show, they were the head of the game on getting Alec Baldwin to play a pompous guy. Who was, it's a very, very funny show, and just 6 episodes. That's 3 hours, less than 3 hours of your time for some very enjoyable.
Gone too soon. Hope. Come on, Kevin Smith's taking another swing at everything. Why not this show? Anyways, I think that's we all did our 2 picks, right? We've all went around twice.
Yep.
Any honorable mentions? Anything that you're like, oh, if I had 3, I would have said this one.
Ooh.
I know Eric said it doesn't count, but I would say Hannibal.
Okay, no, go for
Hannibal,
it.
Why doesn't Hannibal count?
I mean, Hannibal doesn't count because it's based on the books, not the movie Silence of the Lamb. I knew exactly why you thought it didn't count, but I didn't care. That show's great. What a singular and beautiful and weird vision. I love it. Bringing Mads Mikkelsen into my life in such a way, too, a favor I'll never be able to repay.
Agent Carter for me is one that I probably would have brought up. I loved the second season, didn't work for me quite as well, but that first season of Agent Carter, if you like the Marvel stuff and you wish you would have gotten to see more of that, or if you wish, it's more of what I wanted from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think. And it's so good. The mystery in it works really well. Everything plays really well. And again, just like with other things, it doesn't take away from what was in Captain America, but it builds upon it. And that first season is just a beautiful season of television. It's really well done.
I'll have to watch it. I gave it my best shot with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I don't know. I hear the other one's better. So.
Yeah, I definitely should check it out.
Yeah, I really dig Agent Carter, and then Hannibal's one of my favorite shows ever. So
Hannibal's great.
Definitely should love. But I would also say my honorable mention and full caveat here that I am the 2 guys who created this show I went to college with. I know them very well. But 12 Monkeys, the TV series, is really good. It's it's really fun. It takes the idea of it's a time travel show, and they go into some really they have kind of a lot of clever things they do with what it can be as a time travel show and how it loops around on itself and how the characters can change in very literal ways. 12 Monkeys is really, really cool. And another, it's 4 seasons, tells a complete story and some really cool characters.
Sweet. Well, too much to watch. And people in the chat, keep it going with your suggestions that we will not be reading because we are trapped in the past. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please hit like and hit that bell so you never miss another thing. And we won't miss the news that happened. Yeah, that's right. We got news. Venom got pushed back just a little. Well, actually, almost a month, 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Venom, Let There Be Caution. Oh, nice. I see what you did there, Ryan. Set to open on September 24th in the US, will now premiere on October 15th. One-time delay, or are we back in the old world of bit by bit by bit and then completely canceling movie releases? What do we think?
I think that Suicide Squad like scared a lot of people.
Yeah.
I feel like it scared a lot of folks and it made a lot of people kind of want to pull back because they're not going to put Venom on any kind of streaming service. And so you've got to try to figure out a way to like, maybe if we wait, Americans will get it together and we'll be rid of that gosh darn Delta variant and people will feel more comfortable going into theaters. So we'll see. This might be, it's really just going to depend on where we're at. But I do think that, I think that Suicide Squad really scared a lot of people. And I think we're going to be hearing about more postponements, and they might not all be as dramatic as a year out as they would have been. But I think you're going to see a lot more things happening in the later fall or in the Christmas time than you would have heard of like previously.
Yeah, I think the same thing. It's not going to be these like 6 month to 12-month pushes. But because some people are like, why even bother 3 weeks? It's like, because it could make a difference. Like, look, and again, there's so much going on here, but it's like, well, looking at the UK where the Delta variant hit so hard and then kind of dropped down, I think they're like, maybe those 3 weeks will make a big difference. We don't know. But yeah, I think you might start to see a lot of these shifts. Right now, the strange thing is just how jam-packed October is, which usually has 1 or 2 movies, but right now it's like Dune, Bond, Venom is now opening the same day as Halloween Kills. And you feel like one of them might budge at least another week or so. So it's going to be like I think we're going to get a log jam at the end of the year, because I think no one wants to push out too far, but they might start to try to be like, let's try to be a little more cautious. And I think you're absolutely right, Danielle. Suicide Squad scared them so bad. Now they're going to be looking at Free Guy, which has people are watching this to already know how the opening weekend did, which is theaters only. And then Shang-Chi, assuming it sticks to theaters only, will be, I think, what happens with that? Like, can that open at all decently over Labor Day weekend? And if it doesn't, then who the hell knows what they'll do at that point? Maybe they will delay another 6 months. But right now, I think the small moves are going to be what's happening.
I can't wait for October. That's going to be great.
There's a lot.
I'll get
good month movies.
The Zeta Beta Phi variant, and it'll be worth it. Okay, moving on, because there's other stuff I want to get to. There's a big deep dive interview with the director of the upcoming Many Saints of Newark, Emmy-winning director Alan Taylor. You may know him from such films as Terminator Genesis and Thor: The Dark World. So sounds like he's back on his feet and doing good work again, because I hear this is actually good. And he spoke about Kevin Feige and what happened with Thor 2. He said, Kevin Feige was always smart about looking at what worked and didn't in the last iteration and trying to retool from that. I came in to bring some Game of Thrones to it. So he was hired to bring some Game of Thrones to Thor. He goes on to say, did he actually call it the Taylor Cut?
No, THR did. And I was like, how dare you, THR? How dare you try to make this a thing?
Okay, yeah. So he made
I'll repeat my joke from Twitter that if they ever did it, it has to be parentheses Taylor's version.
Yeah, and this isn't even a cut, you assholes at THR, because he says the version I started off with had more childlike wonder. There was blah 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 blah. That's like a version of it. It's like a script, like a draft of a script. That does not mean that he made this movie and then they hacked it up into pieces. It just seems like he had a very bad experience. But he says there was weird stuff going on back on Earth because of the convergence that allowed for some of these magical realism things. There are big plot differences that were inverted in the cutting room. Interesting. And with additional photography, people who had died were not dead, like Loki. People who had broken up were back together again. I think I would like my version. If you wonder what Patty Jenkins had to say, who was initially attached to direct, had to say about this version, Patty Jenkins said, quote, "I did not believe I could make a good movie out of the script they were planning on doing." Sorry, directors, you get all the credit. You have to get all the blame too. That's just the bargain you've struck with screenwriters. It would have looked like it was my fault. Yeah. So what do you think? Hashtag release the Taylor Cut. Where should I aim my pitchfork here?
I just think that Endgame did a great job of kind of giving that the redemption. Like, you can go back, and I've gone back and watched The Dark World since Endgame, and I'm like, okay, like it did for me going back, make it a slightly better movie. And I think that that's all that anyone would want from any kind of cut, is just a little bit of that redemption. So I don't think that we need a Taylor Cut. I don't think that everything I know we're in the past today, but we got to move forward, y'all. Everyone has these disappointing experience with the studio where they have cuts and these things happen. We can't always go back 5 or 7 or 10 years in the past and try to like get these different cuts of movies to see if like maybe it could have made a difference and maybe it would have been better. I think everyone's just better off moving forward.
Yeah, imagine if David Fincher like spent the 5 years after Alien 3 just trying to get a new cut of Alien 3 made.
Right.
just make something new.
He literally turned down doing a cut. Like they put that cut together for the Blu-ray that was like what it kind of would have been, but he wouldn't be involved in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Thor: The Dark World, you look back and it's just that was growing pains for MCU at the point. They weren't as highly defined. And also I think to Alan Taylor's credit, who again has done great work on TV, great episodes of Game of Thrones, and it sounds like The Many Saints of Newark is great. He said that, people like Taika Waititi and James Gunn have clearly been able to kind of keep their own vibe going within the MCU and make it work. That just wasn't him. This was his first feature. And it just sounds like he wasn't ready for it yet, ready to be like, make this your own movie, but also take all these notes because it has to fit into the big machine of the MCU. And Gunn and Waititi can do that. So yeah, I think we have to all move on, guys.
I think Taylor said he considers himself more of a director-producer, whereas Waititi and Gunn are director-writers. So it's like that key difference there of just really being able to make those story notes work in your story. And, it's just, I can't imagine he wants to revisit it. I can only wonder what his thoughts were when this interview came out, when he wanted to focus on his exciting new upcoming series.
When I saw THR use the term Taylor cut, and I think they did it twice,
man.
I was like, no, you bastards.
All right. Let's move on. Let's not make the Taylor cut a thing, can we? Thank you. Look, there's a new weird Nick Cage trailer out, but I feel like we could say that any week. Like by Monday, there'll be another one. So I'm going to skip the trailer reactions and we'll go into the fan questions that we wanted to get to, but didn't have time. The cut for time fan questions, and then keep them coming right now in the chat for our future installments of cut for time fan questions, if that makes sense. It's like the pre-taped live call-in show. What was that sketch? All right. Brainerd City Update Channel writes, what spices do you have in your spice rack? Which I think we didn't have time to properly answer. And I'm just going to say, what's your favorite spice in your spice rack? Because I'm sure we have, unless you only have one, and that's sad, but do tell.
Oh, I'm so basic. I like a combination of everything seasoning with a little bit of like crushed red pepper. I put a combination of those on everything. It's so easy. You don't have to think about it. It makes everything, it's garlicky and good and it's got texture. And I don't like thinking. So easy peasy.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm a big blend guy because like I'm not gonna make a spice blend better than the professionals can. So I love the Trader Joe's everything bagel seasoning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put it on eggs. Put it on a bagel. Go crazy.
Exactly.
Live your life. That's probably my most used. I tried to find it like online and it just stank and sucked. But like furikake that they put on like poke bowls, the like little ground up nori with like the sesame seeds and magic. I don't know what else is in there, but the kind I ordered blindly off Amazon sucked. So if anyone knows a good one, send it my way.
You gotta go to H Mart.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll go with everything but the bagel as well because I'm basic and it's good. It's tasty. And I realize this is an herb, not a spice, but I'm still going to say oregano is really good and I throw it on anything.
Yeah, dried oregano, that's
Yeah.
spice adjacent.
It's in your spice rack. It counts.
Yeah.
I would say my two favorites, I'm going to just completely go against the grain here and say dried mustard or smoked paprika.
Dried mustard,
paprika.
smoked paprika.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Those are
bold flavors.
the two seasoning ingredients in my mac and cheese that I make. That is always a hit. It is great.
Mustard does a great job of boosting the cheese flavor in a mac and cheese. You know what you're talking about.
It sure does. I sure do.
I will say that the only thing I've ever shoplifted in my life is saffron because I looked at saffron. I needed it for a recipe.
Saffron Bandit? You're
and just on principle alone, I was like, no way, this is worth that much. I'm putting this in my pocket.
Spencer,
that is ridiculous. It is like a strand of hair for $5. I'm like, no.
You might be admitting to a felony here.
Okay, yeah, no one narc me out.
Everyone be cool.
Everyone chill.
It's past the statute of limitations.
We don't know how much you took.
Like college, yeah, a long time ago. All right. Okay, another one from Reynard City, asking the hard-hitting questions here. I always wanted to kick over a bin to reveal fresh whole chicken like Streets of Rage 4. Well, me too, brother. What video game logic do you wish was real?
Oh, well, I guess if we're sticking with healing, I like the idea, like, maybe not as spicy as GTA, but like if you could make out with someone and get all your hearts back, that sounds pretty dope. That would be a good one.
Yeah. I wish like when you talk to somebody, there was like dialogue options that like told you what to say, and then like it didn't matter if you just like if you went through all the dialogue options, they had to stay there and like talk to you.
Oh, how good would it be if you could just skip it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, a skip dialogue button. That would be actually much better. Thank you, Danielle. That's my pick.
I have a couple. I think I would like the crafting ability, where if I just have all the right ingredients, I can smush them together and magically I have a sword or whatever.
Instantly, yeah.
I also would really like to be able to climb anything yellow. I can't climb anything at all. So if I could at least climb yellow stuff, that would be a big step in the right direction.
Why yellow?
I don't know why. I've been playing a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn lately, and it's like in a lot of games where like stuff's climbable because it's bright yellow. And I'm like, could that be for real life too, for me? And then I could parkour everywhere.
I also wish people's weakest spots flashed red.
Mommy
so I knew where to aim.
issues.
Yeah.
I'll go with in real life, you shouldn't burn bushes, people. It can be very bad. But if in video game logic, if you could like be like Zelda and burn bushes and there was something cool behind it that you didn't know about that could give you a power up or you could buy, that would be cool.
Gem.
Yeah, if there were always gems in shrubbery.
Right. And by burning that one bush, it wouldn't start a giant fire around it. So the video game logic there works well for me.
Oh, good times. Well, more questions that I want to get to, but what's that? We're out of time. Oh man, look at the time. That's crazy. I had a lot of fun with you on this. Was it Thursday, Monday? On this Monday with y'all. Thank you, Bailey. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Eric, for taking time, and thank you, audience, for watching. Then. Hope the world's still alive. Bye-bye.
This episode was brought to you by Hulu.